Peace, everyone. I am here at the creator table with Mother Matriarch Salima Ellis herself. Mother Matriarch, if you would talk to us right quick, tell us who you are, give us a message.
Greetings and salutations. This is the Matriarch Salima. We're at the creation table with the Matriarch Joy, and we are in the darkness.
Okay, so we're going to actually continue a conversation we were having. So we flowing, and you all have been invited.
So the conversation actually started from the live that we had Sunday when we did the build on They Live.
I wouldn't even say that. I say it probably happened before part one of Black and White Are Not Colors.
You right, before, because I spoke on this before.
But next level,
This is
Sunday.
The next level was Sunday. So we originally spoke on this subject during my presentation of Black and White Are Not Colors when we were building that presentation. And it really kicked in for me with this last build that we did with the breakdown and review of the movie They Live. And
yeah, and if you want to see that breakdown, go to Karmic Dynasty and look in the it's a playlist marked movie reviews, but it should be recent on the list. Yep, check out that video. Salima was in there on fire.
So the patriarch Mamutef Queb said something that really touched me on so many levels. He said, I don't know if anybody has noticed, but the Hemets are not sleeping. And it was almost like cold water just got thrown on me, like right here, right now.
Yes.
This about to happen. Remember I said, oh my God, Mamutef, you almost made me cry.
Yeah, you said you was going to choke him.
I said, I'm going to choke you.
I said, oh, y'all want to see him get choked? Come to the event this Saturday in Detroit.
Because that's that point of telepathy where you can affect a person physically, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally without touching them, without being in the same room with them. So that's that telepathic telekinesis. He had that effect on me, basically. So the next level of that conversation is that we're not functioning properly because we're not in the dark as we should be. So we're going to call part of this contracting with dark spaces. We should be in the dark doing work. It's called shadow work, but we don't even understand it. We think of it as something as nefarious or black voodoo or something that we've been taught by our nemesis, Satan, that this is a bad thing. But it's not a bad thing. It's where you should be. And we as women, for lack of a better word, a man, we're not fulfilling our, I'm not even sure how to say it. Our what?
Contract.
Our contract, yes. We're not fulfilling our contract as matriarchs, as mothers, as helpmates, because as wisdoms, because we have not done the work in the dark, which we're being told is black, and it's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's night.
It's night. Black is a different type of state of being for humans and whatever frequency they're on. Because black is lack of morality. It's the lack of it's the lack of what we are. So when you talk of black, when people get confused when I say Caucasians are black people, I don't mean the color of their skin. I mean their state of being, their mental state, their physical state, their lack of soulful state. They are black. They are the black people.
Yeah, and to get everybody caught up, if possible, where we were at when we decided to start the live, we also discussed colds, so-called colds, We were talking about so-called menstrual cycles. We were talking about so-called men, so-called boys, so-called men. And then we start talking about real herbalism. Then we were talking about the effects of marijuana or weed. And we were talking about the differences between loud and what?
Regular.
Regular.
Regos, what we call regos here in Detroit.
Regos here in Detroit. What up, though?
What up, though?
And we also got into talking about um, our preferences on weed and smoking.
Yeah.
And then I was talking about like the 4 or 5 times I've done it in life and why I don't do it.
And I talked about why I like it,
yeah,
but had stopped doing it was because it had been taken over by industry.
And you were talking about how you get those messages and you can't write them
right
down because you be like.
So when I do partake of herb, I would get downloads, but I could tell when the herb wasn't natural, I would get downloads, but I couldn't act on it. Because now I realize I don't have a herb in my system. I have a narcotic in my system. And the narcotic makes you do things in a way that you would normally do, which would be to have sex, to your discernment, your ability to judge a situation ends. So that's when you know you have a narcotic in your system. Whereas a herb, when you smoke a herb, it's not narcotic. You don't automatically go to sleep. Your incoming downloads come in, and you're able to act on it. So that's when you know there's a difference between smoke. You have a difference between smoking an herb, which is natural, and weed or marijuana, which is a narcotic, which you can't function after you take it. So that was the thing that we were talking about with the herb and the difference between herb, weed, marijuana, and things like that.
Okay. And I also was sharing how the first time I smoked weed, herb, what else I was saying? How I realized I didn't get so-called high and I didn't have the munchies. I was horny.
Right.
And it wasn't I was single at the time. But so I wasn't about to just jump on a man.
But you felt that.
Yeah, I felt that. So I was fighting my body. My mind and my body was fighting. My body was let's go. And my mind was like, hell no, we ain't doing that shit. And so the second time I smoked, which was sometime later, I was with someone. I was with my daughter's son, my daughter's father. So the whole act of me having to fight my mind and my body fight was not there. I let go. So that was that. But then then I realized the pattern of when I smoke the herb, I just get horny. It's like super. So it was tested, tried and true.
Right.
It happened. So now I gotta watch when I smoke. So I didn't do it. And then in my last relationship, that was the like 2 times I smoked during that relationship because he was there. So I was able to jump on him.
Right.
And he was like, oh yeah, we gonna have to get you some more of this. I'm like, no, calm down, dude, because I got work to do. I got appointments in the AM. I can't. But when I can, I will. But it didn't happen too often because of my schedule and my obligations and my commitments I've made. So yeah, like I actually tried some herb last night, just fresh, straight from the ground, something natural.
Grown by
Aborigine, and I did not get that horny feeling. Now I heard and I took on the knowledge of the person who grew it and who gave it to me. So I was confident I wasn't gonna be horny. And it happened. I was not horny. So I was
drugged in some type
or
of way.
no type drugged. I was just cool. over here knocking out tax returns. Chilling though, we was chilling at the music, and I actually then followed up because Abdiel was in his studio trying to set it up in practice. So we had a lively conversation with him.
Yes.
All the way in Tennessee, cutting up. Yeah. And then I end up. So if you want to check out that part of that live, you can go to his Facebook page. He's on there live, and I was instructing him. I had to do a whole short tutorial just to share with him how to set up his studio while he's live. It was an experience. But anyway, we getting back to this herb thing.
Okay, well, I want to share a little bit. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons why I stopped smoking was not only that I got pregnant, I wanted to have a healthy baby, was that I realized I had been smoking narcotics. And that the result for the last 20 years has not been good. So I didn't even realize I was addicted to a narcotic, because you can't get addicted to herb. Because I can go, you see me go out all day and I smoke. It doesn't bother me. I don't be like, oh my God, no.
Yeah, like, oh, I gotta have some basil.
Right. So that's the difference between when you know you're dealing with herb and a narcotic. Narcotics lay you out. They give you feelings and things that you shouldn't have to put up with. As when you're dealing with herb, you can stay in your natural state. And if you want herb, you usually have to grow it yourself or find other aboriginal beings, because these other beings on the planet, these men, these humans and whatnot, they're growing drugs, narcotics. Mm-hmm. And I saw an interesting post on Facebook not long ago, was the reason that drugs are outlawed is because you see the real world when you're high.
Right.
As opposed to when you're not high, you're in the Matrix.
Yeah, that trance. Like in the movie They Live, we just reviewed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
At the end of the movie, they cut the signal and everybody could see the beings that were sitting next to them the whole time for who they really were.
Even really those who were partaking in narcotics. So if they were in the bar, they were drinking and they were smoking. They were partaking of some kind of drug, narcotic form.
Yeah.
So when they cut that signal and you woke up, whether you were high or sober, you still saw that thing. Mm-hmm.
And also to share with y'all in the process of this conversation today we've been on, we've come up with additions to our t-shirt lines. So I have my t-shirt line I've been working on developing, and Salima got her t-shirt line she's been developing with somebody, with her artist. So yeah, these conversations, the statement, I'm gonna have Salima share her statement with you, and this is why I decided to go live. She was talking about this is the conversations that we should be having, the matriarchs.
Yes.
How'd you say that?
Yes. These are the conversations we as matriarchs should be having, but we haven't been because, first of all, we don't understand the language and how to break down the language so that we can successfully have conversations like this. Mm-hmm. When you don't understand the language which you speak or how it's been taught to you, you cannot communicate, and you can't communicate successfully. You can communicate, but that doesn't mean that you're having a successful communication. Mm-hmm. So at this point, we're having successful communication. So are we done with the herb talk, or can we go to the next part?
How are we rolling?
Okay.
Let's go where you want to go. We can always go run it back.
So we were talking about contracting with dark spaces. Mm-hmm. And one of those questions that came up for me was, there's a saying that called Queen of the Night. Mm-hmm. Why are women called Queen of the Night or Queen of Hearts? Mm-hmm. Not men, not children, but women are referred to as Queen of the Night or Queen of Hearts. Mm-hmm. Which led me back to those dark spaces. So if only women can be rulers of that realm, that would make you the empress, the queen, the ruler of that realm. So we're called queens of the night for a reason. We should be in those dark spaces. And we haven't been occupying those dark spaces properly. We only go to the dark space when we're completely exhausted from taking care of everyone else during the day.
Or hurting.
Because we also talked about
migraines.
And migraines was going to be one of my answers for how do you know women should be in dark spaces? Well, the migraine. So this is the question. First, do you get migraines? Second, who suffers from migraine headaches more, men or women? Statistically speaking, women suffer from migraines more. So what happens when you get a migraine?
Well, because I was sharing, I actually had got migraines. Because I think in the They Live movie review, somebody spoke on migraines in the comments section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were watching television when they were breaking that signal. They felt that migraine.
No. Somebody not in the movie. Yeah, that happened in the movie too. Somebody in the comment section were talking about their experience with migraines and those medications. Yeah, and I shared with Salima earlier today that I had migraines before as well, and I was on medication, and that's the last time I've been on some. Before I came into this knowledge, I was working at the IRS at the time, and the medication would have me sleep the whole day and night, except for like probably 3 hours in a 24-hour period. I was asleep, and I wasn't eating because I was asleep. And when I would get up, I was groggy, and I'd be just aware enough to know that I was asleep all damn day, and I just went back to sleep. And then my job, the IRS, be like, let us know, your FMLA, and let us know when you're ready to come back to work. I'm like, there's no way I'm coming back to work if I'm sleeping 18 hours of the day. So I got off the medication. And a little while later, a few weeks or so, I end up leaving the IRS. And then a week after that, I realized I wasn't even having migraines anymore. I spent a lot of time in the dark, and a lot of that is getting away from the stress. And then the stress we were talking about is that indoctrination. What was you saying? The categorizing?
Yes. When we allow them to classify us.
Yeah, classification.
When we allow ourselves to be cast and classified, you immediately begin to take on stress.
Yeah, so stress is a result of that.
Stress is a result, and migraine is sometimes the end symptoms, one of the symptoms of being classified.
Yeah.
So I have also suffered from migraines, which I'm to the point where I would cry out of one eye sometimes. My head would feel like it was splitting. I had to go to a quiet, dark place. Even as a teenager, I had migraines, and I had a walk-in closet, and I would go in that walk-in closet and shut them doors. Like, don't try to find me. If you call me, I'm not gonna answer you. I don't care what's going on. That's how bad my head was hurting. So I can definitely sympathize when it comes to understanding migraines. So one of the reasons that I began to understand we're having migraines is that you have something that you've been told is a cold. It's not a cold. It's a purge. And you're purging mentally, mindfully, physically, spiritually. So that's what you're doing. And the purge comes out in the form of pus, not mucus. Mucus is natural. You need mucus. It's in your mouth, it's in your eyes, it's in your nostrils. You need your mucus membrane. What you're purging is pus. And your body and your mind work in conjunction together to remove the pus. Because the pus isn't just a buildup of what you eaten physically, it's a buildup of what you eaten spiritually and mentally.
Are we talking about the menstrual cycles today? Are
We
you
can,
saving that for a project
if
or
you want to,
something?
we can talk about.
It's your. I got that from you. I didn't know if you
Okay.
we was talking at the table the other day.
Right.
Yeah.
So the menstrual cycle is another form of purge, but it's worse.
Okay.
The menstrual cycle is not a count of how many babies or eggs you ate. That's a lie. These people love to lie to us.
Mm-hmm.
The menstrual cycle is the time it takes for your body to collect all the things that have died in you, that are the parts of you that have died because you've taken this in, and now your body has to let go. So it's a death
So how do parts die?
from what you take in,
So what you eat?
what you eat, mentally, physically, and soulfully kill you. You remember I was listening to that Reverend Ike ideas, what's feeding on your mental energy? Mm-hmm. Well, in that video, Reverend Ike states specifically that whatever you allow to eat on your mental energy also feeds off of you what? Physically and spiritually.
So the parts of you that died inside are what's coming out through your
vagina.
So-called menstrual cycle.
It's coming out through your menstrual cycle.
Because you mentioned that's a sign of you dying. How'd you say that?
Because it's parts of me that have died. So
those you were saying the menstrual cycle is you dying. Something
yes,
said like that.
It's internal bleeding.
Yeah.
It's the internal bleeding that can come out.
Well, there's something like you was talking about the rate of how you're dying.
It's the rate of how you die. Yeah. So your body needs 28 days to collect the death that you have accumulated in your body. So like, you know, when you eat white sugar, the white sugar cuts your veins, right?
Yeah.
It cuts your veins. It destroys certain parts of your body, right?
Right.
So the part that could not be healed and repaired has to come out through your menstrual cycle. And the parts that can be stay within you and are reborn.
So the menstrual cycle, air quotes, is
death.
Death
is the release of your physical
dead parts.
Yep, dead parts.
So we talked about. So then, we were talking about me personally. I asked you a question because I was like, I don't have menstrual cycles anymore.
Right.
So we're also talking about the lessening, like the cleaner you eat, the less your days are with the menstrual cycles, or the color will lighten up.
Right.
The flow will lighten up.
Less death.
Yeah, so then you had a concern you shared with me because I don't have menstrual cycles anymore because I had a hysterectomy like in 2010-ish. Yeah, so for those of us who don't have menstrual cycles, to collect the death and leave out, you talked about the natural leaves out of our bodies.
Right.
So what's the natural way?
Damiana. For women who have a hysterectomy, especially with women who have a partial hysterectomy where they may have had their uterus removed but left their ovaries, that Damiana can help you. It helps get that system restarted because you have the ability to regrow your uterus. Who says it's not back already?
Yeah, I know. Somebody told me that.
Right.
And I'm not even going to mention him because I had to nigga him on a broadcast recently.
Well, that's what the Damiana. You need herbs like ashwagandha, Damiana. Those things help you out for you to rebuild because you are obviously a fully functioning woman. Mentally, soulfully, and physically, mindfully, you see.
Yeah. And you also talked about it coming out naturally through urine and bowel movements.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yes. So the urine and the bowel movement is just a regular discharge of what you eaten. But the part of and that hurts too. That's why people develop these urinary tract infections or bowel disorders like hemorrhoids. It's painful. It's painful because you've got toxic and murderous. I mean, you've got a harmful entity coming out of your body. It jacks you up in there and then still jacking you up on the way out.
I do get my share of hemorrhoids.
Wow. It's something. See, So we don't understand that the body is purging.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even when we do feces, it's purging out something that might not should be there.
Yeah.
Urine. So when you see pus, it's purging. So who suffers the worst from pus? Children, babies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you see them crying and stuff, because they're in so much pain, because there's no alleviation from the pus. And unfortunately, we in our ignorance continue to give them what's causing the purge. What we're giving them what has caused that purge in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So you give them milk from a cow, and it forces the purge.
Yeah.
And you say, I don't understand. Why do they have a cold? I've been taking care of them. We're eating good. No, you're not if you're giving them cow milk instead of your breast milk.
Yeah, warm glass of milk before bed.
So now, after you've given your baby so much of that cow milk or that created man-made milk, formula, yep. Now your baby has had 28 days. It has to purge. So every 28 days, it almost seems like certain children have colds. Mm-hmm. Because that's the time it took.
Or ear infections.
Thank you.
Wow.
It's all pus. So now that baby or that woman has had that time for the body to collect. So now that it can start to alleviate the body through pressure, atmospheric pressure. Mm-hmm. And I call it atmospheric pressure because when you're standing up, it drains. But when you're laying down, you feel more pressure. When you have a so-called cold, you feel more pressure, like I can't. So you sit up to blow your nose.
Yeah.
You sit up to let it drain.
Yeah.
So you need atmospheric pressure. When you stand up, you're higher in the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. When you're laying down, you're vertical, lower from the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Okay? So you need that atmospheric pressure to help the purge. Okay?
So speaking of women and children, when it comes to the men, you also talked about the differences in their colon, I think prostate relation. When you were talking about when they urinate, when they stand up or sit down and urinate.
Yes, they're causing themselves bigger problems because our men refuse to sit down and urinate.
So why would they sit down and urinate?
Because when you stand up and urinate,
because you mentioned like in the bush or something.
Usually your penis is rock hard. Mm-hmm. Especially when he gets up in the morning, it's hard because the pressure. He probably hasn't even gotten up when his penis first told him, "Look, get your butt up and go pee, man." They don't. Yeah. So now it's stiff. Yeah. Not just from wanting to pee, but for wanting other things. Yeah. So when they press it down to urinate, to go into that hole
in the toilet,
the urine catches. Yeah. Because it's not releasing. Mm-hmm. Because now you've created, if your penis is up this way to pee, it should stay up that way to pee, but you're pressing it down. So now that all the urine that should come out is not coming out as it should. Mm-hmm. So now you're developing a problem where you've got urine turning into uric acid. Wow. Jacking up that prostate. Mm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you got to stop that. Yeah. But our men have been told, oh, only faggots sit down and pee. Yeah. You're a real man. Real men don't sit down to pee. You stand up and you pee. You hold that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That patriarch bullshit paradigm that they were taught.
Combined with the fact that they had those urinals in the public restrooms.
Right.
To enforce that.
Right. So now you're hurting yourself based on the ideology that you're less than a man if you sit down to pee, which is stupid because you got to sit down to shit. You fucker.
And the thing is, it's parental advisory, it's viewer discretion. You fucker. Shit. And the thing is, there's no damn urinals in the homes. The model home does not have a urinal in it. It only has the toilet. Well, in America, right? It only has the toilet in it.
So when I tell my sons to pee in the tub, I'm looked at like I'm crazy because I don't want him to press down. I would tell him, look, don't do that. Yeah, you hurting that thing. Yeah, I want grandkids. I need you to just stand over the tub and pee.
And let it go.
And put pressing on it. You
Yeah.
hurting my future progeny.
Yeah.
With these actions. So.
And clean up after yourself.
Okay?
Shit.
So these all go into our unhealthy. Mm-hmm. What is considered, we're not living at our optimal well-being.
Right.
Because we got all these separate and different ideologies that destroy who we are. Mm-hmm. So we just figured out earlier that we're not looking for men. When we say we're looking for men, that is not who we're looking for. We don't want a man.
So right quick, when I had mentioned on my broadcast the other day in preparation for the Courting versus Dating series coming up, and we're anticipating the premiere is this Sunday.
Yes.
I spoke on my prep video, Joy Allen is dating now, and I was talking about them him boys. Mm-hmm. I just cannot be with a boy in a man's body. I just came to this realization that's what they are. Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned in that video, it's disgusting. That's a form of pedophilia to me.
Yes.
That not in a form. It's pedophilia.
Even if they're physically formed, if they're not soulfully or mentally, we should not touch them. It's still like dealing with a child.
Yeah, I'm not touching them. That's pedophilia. Period. But anyway, how we get on that right quick? You just mentioned something about the.
Oh, we realized as we learn the language, because part of being a master student is that we always have to study this language. Mm-hmm. So through studying the language,
and
we
self.
learn. What you say? I'm sorry.
And self.
Okay, yeah. We understood that we're not looking for men. That indigenous beings, our people, the ones that are known as men, they're not men. They're not man. They're something so much greater than what is considered what a man is. They're not men.
The system made them men.
The system made them men. Thank you. Yes, the system made them men. The beast said we're going to change the God from a man. We're going to call ourselves God, and we're going to turn these beings into men. But our men are not men. They are not man.
Yeah.
They are so much more than that. And because they don't know who they really are, because they allow another being to classify them, they've been taken out of their proper state. And they don't have the ability to do what we as matriarchs need them to do. Therefore, we don't have the ability to do what they need us to do as so-called men.
And what's that Bible verse you were saying about beware of man?
Yeah, there's a Bible verse. We were looking it up. I haven't had a chance. Right now I'm sitting with my dictionary, but I'm going to go grab that Bible later and find that verse about...
You Google it on your phone.
We can't beware that man is coming.
Okay.
When the great war breaks out, it does say the beast is coming at one point. Mm-hmm. But there's another Bible verse that says, beware, man is coming. Mm-hmm. So when you're dealing with so-called humans, Caucasians, Asians, whatever you want to call them, you're dealing with man. And man has proven to you over time, it has no intention on treating you right. So man is already here.
Right.
And this is our battle to not just survive man, but to thrive after this war. So right now, this is a battle. This life is a battle. See, we're under the impression that battles are guns, knives, mm-hmm. and blood. And no, this is the battle. My armory is working right now. I'm presenting to you, as along with the matriarch Joy,
the pineal armory.
We're presenting our armory to you all right now. This is a battle. The fact that we're speaking this knowledge to you is the battle.
And we were also this is how some of this, because y'all are catching like the residuals of conversations we've had. So we were preparing for this Saturday's event. And we are again bringing our own acts of magic, our own art work of magic to the event and sharing with each other. And I had my Mommy Wata books with me, and Salima was speaking about. We were speaking about the Mommy Wata books. So the Sibyls we were talking about earlier, and the Sibyls
is the Book of Solomon. That was part of it.
Yep. And we were talking about also how they took the knowledge of the Sibyls and made the Bible. In the same manner, they also took our what we call men. And the men is actually the war is the reduction of the Sibyls and the knights. And the knights, they made them men. Yeah. We're using the word term knights right now. Yeah. And Salima tell y'all more later about the why we doing that. And the Sibyls, we are the reduction form of the Sibyls. Yes. The womb, the wisdom, woman, wisdom. And so the war is getting back to our selves, knowledge of self. So for us, we'll be getting back to our form of the being Sibyls. And for the so-called men, it'll be the wars getting back to them being a knight. Yes. And that's the reduction that the men don't know that they're not men, they're knights. Yeah. So if you're listening, grab your pen and pencil and look up knights, both forms of knight. Knight and Night. And you'll understand that the men that you've been dealing with don't know that that's what they are, and that's why they can't function and fulfill you. And vice versa. And vice versa. We can't fulfill them because they don't know who they are. And we don't know and we don't know who we are either. We don't understand that we're not women. A woman is a wombed man. That's what Eve is. She is a man who was given a wound. Look it up, gift. Mm-hmm. That's why they get our women to get hysterectomies so that they can give your uterus to that wombed man. Mm-hmm. Even if they get one use out of it. Okay? So, Eve is a wombed man, which cracks me up when I see all these master teachers still don't understand that they dealing with wombed men. Mm-hmm. Instead of a Sibyl or a wisdom. Because I'm not a woman. I'm not a wombed man. You don't have to wound me for me to have a baby. Exactly. Look up wound and then look up womb. Wound, WOUND, is something that you get from some type of invasive cut, operation, or a physical act of violence. And womb, WOMB. Those are two words she's suggesting y'all look up. Right. So you need to look up these words so you can start understanding who you are as a species. Mm-hmm. And that's what I always say. Y'all don't know who you are as a species. Y'all think it's a race. You want to race? Go put on your sneakers, tie up your shoes, go race. What we talking about has nothing to do with the race, except for who reaches the knowledge of it faster. That's the race. Who reaches the knowledge of self-awareness faster? And it'll be us still. It's us, because we already on here giving it up. Us as in not them. Yes, anybody that's not us. Okay, so I got to put on my grandma glasses. Hold on, y'all, because I want to make sure. You want the lights. Don't be cracking up at these glasses every time she see you. I need to give me a pair. So a womb, they say, is a uterus, a cavity or a space that resembles a womb and containing and enveloping. A place where something is generated. But not once did they refer to it as something from a woman. Okay? So read that again. Womb is noun, Middle English. Womb, from, Old English, akin to whatever that is.
Wamba, belly, uterus. 1, uterus. 2, a cavity or space that resembles a womb and containing and enveloping. B, a place where something is generated. So they have a womb. Eves have wombs because they have to have generation. They have to regenerate that so that they can make a baby. That's why they use things like in vitro fertilization or fertility pills or fertility shots.
Yeah.
So that they can get that womb activated to hold those babies.
Surrogate.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So they generate those babies through the womb through in vitro or fertilization or fertility shots or pills or whatever treatments that they use. We don't need that. We laid out, we pregnant. We breathe, we pregnant. I cook dinner, I'm pregnant. Shoot. So we are two different species.
For sure.
I don't have a womb. Whatever this is in my body, Eve has a uterus or womb. Because they never once referred to the womb as something for our people. So Eve is a wombed man. That's why it's called a woman. It's a wombed man. And you have to wound it to create that. It has to have invasive operations, treatment to do that. So I don't even have what you really call a uterus or a womb. Whatever this is that they're taking out of our people to give it to somebody else is very powerful because it has to survive being cut out of one being to being placed in another being. Now, if that ain't a motherfucking portal, I don't know what is. So I don't have a womb. I have a portal. I don't birth children. My children stay in orbit in my body, in my portal, until they choose to land on this realm and within this realm. Okay? So that's the knowledge that we haven't been given, and we don't know how to share with each other. So yeah, I'm not a ship. I'm a portal. And my progeny utilized the portal to go back and forth. Not only probably my prodigy, but other beings also. Think about how these other beings that we talk to, how do they get to this realm? Okay, so we talked about portals during the They Live Live, and we talked about how painful it is for children when they're on airplanes because they're on these man-made portal. They're within these machines made by men so that they can get through certain portals, and it hurts us because they're utilizing us to get through these portals.
And you're talking about turbulence.
Yeah, turbulence. Turbulence is one of the symptoms or side effects of going through the portal. When that plane rattles like that. And I'm thinking often the plane rattles like that because it hasn't come into sync yet. And then once it does, that stops.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, their
it's
portals
like when your phone buffers.
Right. The way the phone buffers. The plane rattles until they become in sync.
Right.
So one of us melanated beings always has to be on a flight, even if we're not a customer. You're the flight attendant. They're the mechanic. They're the pilot. Somebody melanated got to be on that flight, or there's no synchronicity. And if you're thinking about people who are on flights that are melanated and flights still get destroyed and stuff, that's a whole different topic. That's probably because they're specifically after that melanated person for a reason.
You know what it could be? You're talking also about plasma.
Yes.
The day when you're talking about that, it could be they were recipients of our plasma.
Yeah, they are.
So they have it in them. So if we're not on the flight, we are technically because we are in them by way of plasma.
Right.
Or those blood donations.
Because that's what I.
But we
Oh
were
yeah, that's
talking
what I was
about
saying. I was saying
blood types too.
we are not giving our blood type.
Right.
We don't have a blood type. Our blood type is we the original people of the planet. Fuck all of that.
Mm-hmm.
All these other blood types, A, B, negative, RH, positive, RB, rhesus monkey, all this nonsense. That's the blood type of the people they want you to donate to.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be fooled by thinking that just because, oh yes, this is your blood type. No, this is who that original blood can go to.
Yeah.
Because your original blood can't go to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It can only go to specific beings.
So I'm O negative.
So it can only go to specific people.
Yeah. But I was told that my blood type is for, I can donate blood, give blood to any people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So that's the O.
Mm-hmm. O negative.
O negative can give to anybody.
Cause we were at the creation table the other day with a few other matriarchs, and we were discussing the O positive, how they couldn't give.
Right.
I
Which is
what
good.
that was about. Yeah.
Because that means it would be the equivalent of giving the vampires the anticoagulant,
Mm-hmm.
which makes the blood come undone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a blood thinner.
Mm-hmm.
So you give them that O negative.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what you say, O positive?
The other person was O positive.
They can't give, right?
Right, they can't.
Because it would be like giving these vampires the equivalent of an anticoagulant, a blood thinner. You would basically be killing them. So we can't donate to humans if you're O positive because your blood would be the same as giving them holy water.
So Quantier, you cannot give your holy water.
You cannot give your holy water to the vampire.
That's right.
Basically, that's what they're saying. If you cannot donate, it's because the vampire cannot drink it without killing itself, without dying.
Dang. So Quantier is a weapon.
Ain't she?
Ain't she?
We got to get her back over here.
Quantier, get back over here.
That bang. We got to find that. You got that holy water.
Go get the syringes.
So yeah. So this is one of our matriarch builds for us matriarchs and any patriarchs that choose to listen. And we hope you
yeah, because they join us. Because as you referenced earlier, Ramutef was
the one that bought it.
Yes, he was that vehicle.
He touched me from across the country.
Yes. So yeah, the patriarchs do join us in these conversations. This is not a matriarchal event.
No.
None of them are. And also, like the event this weekend is called, this Saturday, it's called Matriarchal Magic.
Right.
But it's not just for us matriarchs. The patriarchs can come out as well. The children will be there.
Because we want our children to learn this from us. We don't want these witches to get a hold of our children and teach them this ass backwards rituals.
Yep, and we need the patriarchs there to enforce it. Because we talked earlier about the knights being protectors.
Right. So the knights are our protectors. Mm-hmm. And if the patriarchs don't get in on what's being built now, we're going to be left unprotected. Mm-hmm. And
we are anyway.
Right.
More so.
And then these vampires are really going to come after us.
Because you was talking about the system breaking the night down and making on man, taking away their their nature to be protectors.
The system has.
So that's why men are not protectors.
Right. That's why our men have stopped being our protectors to being those who terrorize us or harm us the most. And that's why we shouldn't judge women who choose to stay with that man, so to speak, because she understands how important that relationship is, even if she's being abused in it. And the same goes for the matriarchs. He will stay in an abusive relationship because there's something important going on in that relationship. That need to be together is obviously there for a reason. We have to be together for a reason. That man you're calling a man is not your man. He is your knight. That man you're calling a woman, she is not your woman. She's not a woman. She is your wisdom. She is your Sybil. And we've been taken out of our context and being placed down on their level and being told we need to fight for equal rights to be with them. Why would you lower yourself to be equal to a being that can't even conceive of what you are? So that man is not a man. He is your knight. The system removed his true identity from him and said, oh, he's a man. He's like us. And all men are equal. And that's why they try to say that all men are equal. But your knight, no man can equal your knight. So when you read the Constitution and you think 3/4 man is this and 3/4 man is that, no, they're saying that fucking human can only equal 3/4 of your fucking knight. That's what they're saying.
Come on, Quantier. I see you. She said she's coming.
That's what they're saying. That man ain't a man. That man is your knight. And only a human. Humans and slaves can only equal. It takes 3 of them to equal your knight. That's what that Constitution is saying.
And they still short.
That's why we stay in abusive relationships with each other. Because we need each other. That man that they're referring to, teaching you to call it a man, that ain't no man. That's your knight. And they've taken him out of his proper context. That's why I say, when we think of slavery, it's a mental, spiritual thing. These people ain't been here for 400 years. They needed thousands of years to do this shit, to change the knowledge, to take it away from us so that we could not be together.
Yeah.
So that we would fail as a nation. And we're more powerful than any nation. And they've taken us out of our contest and made us equal to its wound man. And I'm not a wound man. I'm not a wounded wound man. I'm wisdom. I am Sybil. I have a portal. It becomes a uterus once they use it, of course. But mine's is a portal. So, yeah, catch this wisdom. Catch it. Come on, knights, catch that knight too. That's why you need knighthood. That's why they go through these things so that they can become knights and practice their knighthood. Our men haven't been allowed to practice their knighthood, but we see it sometimes. You ever meet men who come to your rescue that you don't know? Mm-hmm. It could be they open up a door for you, help you with your groceries, or knock another nigga out and you don't know him, but he know you needed that help. That is your knight. And he don't have to sleep with you to do it. That's your knight. Mm-hmm. You understand? That's how powerful that man is that they got us calling our knights men and saying that he equal to everybody else. And he ain't. He above everybody else. He is the sun, but not in the way you think. He is the knight, but not in the way you think.
So right quick, a little breakdown snapshot. The womb man is a man with the womb.
Is a man. That's Eve.
Eve came from Adam. Adam is a man. So Eve is a man. Mm-hmm.
And with the womb. And the beast breathed life into both of them.
Okay. So that would be an illustration of Lil Nas X pregnant ass.
Oh!
Right?
I don't know.
I'm saying it.
Yes.
So they so-called, so the atoms, that's what I'm going to call them. The atoms are with atoms. Mm-hmm. Us, we be the opposite. The actual physical.
What we're being told is our atom is really a knight.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't formed in the dirt. He came through the uterus. He came. I mean, he didn't come through that. He came through the portal.
Right.
So the beast ain't no beast breathed life into my knight.
Right.
Adam was formed in the ground. The beast got dirt together, mm-hmm. which means he did what? He got minerals. Mm-hmm. What we call elements. That's how that elemental chart was put together. The beast had to learn the elements of the earth so he could take man and form him. That's what that term means. He put the elements of this planet together and then breathed life into it. That's an atom. Mm-hmm. That's an atom. Mm-hmm. You are not atom. You are the knight. Mm-hmm. That's what the Knights Templar and all these other, that's based on you. What we call AKA the black man, or African or whatever, with all this other nonsense, Negro, black, nigga, he's a knight. He's not a man. He's above the man. Mm-hmm. And when you see your man out there marching for equal rights to these other freaking beings, he's out of his freaking mind. He does not know who he is.
He is handicapped.
That is handicapped.
That is handicapped. And we discussed that in the daily movie review.
He is mentally capped. He's mentally capped. Okay? If your knight is out there marching in the streets saying he wants equal rights to humans, he is mentally capped, which is another term of handicapped. Okay? He's been educated by the system. He does not know who or what he is, where he is. You see? So you're dealing with mentally capped men, and you're dealing with mentally capped women, handicapped women, and mentally capped women. Okay?
What's that saying? What's this something like, if somebody copies you, that's the highest form of flattery?
Flattery, yeah.
What's this saying?
That is the
same.
same.
Is that the same? Okay.
Copycat. When somebody mimic you. Copy is the highest form of flattery.
Or copy.
Right.
Copy. Okay, because that was what I was thinking about. That's mimicking us.
Right.
Their men on men is mimicking us, knights.
Our knights.
And sigils.
And sigils.
It's the highest form of flattery.
It's the highest form of flattery. So I'm about to bring up somebody I know you hate.
Hold on, before I bring up people in here I hate, let me finish my conversation.
Well, I'm not going to say hate.
Well, I probably do hate them.
No, I'm not. I'm just going to say that
before we do that.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about the form that the Greeks bring, the imagery.
Right.
And the man on man of their history.
Yes.
So they left the caves. They left their placement with their one man, the men with the wombs.
Right. To
go be with the boys that don't have the wombs, the boy men who don't have the wombs.
Well, the first way you have to understand that is because...
And right quick, it also tells where the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost come from. And how the sigil is left out. Because they cannot speak on the woman because the woman is still a form of man. Right. So that's how in the Bible, I want to say
that's why they have the Father and the Holy Ghost, because they have no woman. That's why they have no sigils. They have no sigils. Thank you.
They only come from men, period.
Which is why they have the Father, the Spirit, and the Holy Ghost. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, because they have no woman.
That's why the feminine is not acknowledged, because it's all masculine anyway in their nature.
Because you're dealing with a whole different species.
Okay.
And that's why you have what you call vices. Mm-hmm. Because you have a species that chose this form, mm-hmm. but it's acting out. It's acting as the beast it is, but it's in the shape of the body you're in. Yeah. Okay. So now we're about to go to who?
Who I don't like.
Mentellect. So,
Nuben Menkarez.
But the brother is right.
Nuben.
So we're going to put it out there.
Dynasty. You know who I be.
Okay, so we're going to put this in this slide.
Y'all know what, right quick, I'm going to give some acknowledgement where it's due. Nuben Menkarez, when I came into my awakening, he was the voice that I heard.
And he was supposed to be.
He was the voice I heard.
He was supposed to be.
And also credit where it's due. When I left that group, Mentellect, that's where the creation of the Memoirs of a Karmic Dynasty came from. Because I needed to out that nigga. Next.
Anyway. Let's go into the positive part of
I'm going to the positive part.
Okay.
The positive part. I know I've got some balance for you. So here y'all go. Revelation. Salima and I met at a Mentellect speaking event.
A couple of years ago.
Yes.
Maybe about 3 years ago.
We thought we met by way of the Memoirs of a Karmic Dynasty, or she saw me on Crumb TV, but we actually already had met. And she jogged my memory and ran it back. We met.
Yeah, because Mentellect came here to Detroit. And I went to go see Mentellect right after my sister's funeral. My sister's funeral was the day before, and Mentellect had come to town. Mm-hmm. And I said I got to go see the Baba and the mama. So I did, And it was very powerful. It was very powerful. And that's actually where I met Joy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to get to the part, the nitty gritty, which
Let's
is
go.
Mentellect came out with a broadcast a few years ago called The Purpose of Putting Energy into Shapes.
Okay.
Okay. Now remember in the Bible, it talks about the beast took the earth, formed it, formed the clay man and breathed life into it. So he took our form, right? Out of all the beings that are on this planet, the beast could have chosen any form. There are all type of animals and all type of beings on this planet. Why did it chose to mimic or copy our form? What does this shape do that is so powerful that the beast would mimic it and then try to say it was the originator of it? So that's why that broadcast is powerful. We have to understand that energy is in shapes, is in a form. Just because you do not see the shape of the wind does not mean that it does not have a form.
That's right.
It is alive because it's moving. You feel it. You feel the shape and the form of wind or a breeze, whatever you want to call it. It could have took the shape of a breeze. It could have took the shape of a tree. Why did the beast take the shape of our people? What is it about this form, this shape? What capabilities does it have working at its optimal function, at its optimal well-being? You see what I'm saying? So it's like not only am I being mimicked, and they want to tell you that it's flattery, like when these gray heifers get up here like Kim Kardashian, all these want to darken themselves up to look like us, to mimic us. That's not flattering. What they're saying is that in a minute, heifer, I'm gonna be in your place. That's what she's telling you. Okay. Black face is a form to remind them they must keep that shape and form for whatever reason. And that's why you have all this genetic stuff they doing, the genome project, the stem cell. You see what I'm saying? CRISPR, in vitro farm. They got all these things to help them stay in that form. Why? Because obviously they're coming out of their form. The Genome Project was created by a man who had a son who had this shape like us. He had a body, but the body could not function. That means that their form, their mimicked form of us, is breaking down. Wow. And they're creating all these other systems. Think of Harry Potter. Yeah. Lord Voldemort was dying. But in order to escape death, he started ripping his soul apart and created what you call Horcruxes. And he was putting his soul in different Horcruxes. A ring, a crown, a goblet, a locket, a book of knowledge. You see what I'm saying? So think in this society, when you think of the beast and how he's able to control you, all the things I just said, don't our people aspire to get? Rings, wealth, crown, a locket, jewelry, a book, knowledge. Yes. The beast hid himself within all of these mechanisms so that he could survive. So our thing is that now
and
we're
keeping them alive,
and we're keeping it alive. So it's like read the book, burn the book. Yeah. Because you don't want nobody else learning this knowledge. See, I had gotten to it with another matriarch because she kept, as a homeschooler, she kept saying, well, we got to teach them what they know so that we could then break it down and teach them what we know. I said, why would you give them the lie anyway? Who would do that? Only a mentally bankrupt person thinks that way. Yeah. So she was coming out of the system, but she still had that system in her where she felt like she needed to teach her child that system. Whereas me, when I'm teaching, I don't teach my child anything about the system except for when they have to deal with it face to face. When they have to utilize it face to face. That's the part of the system you teach them about. Why would you teach them about slavery when they've never come face to face with it? But a bunch of pictures, made up pictures. You see what I'm saying? So why would you teach them that?
Right.
Why wouldn't you give them the proper knowledge out the gate so that they could use their armory that you've given them to fight what the beast is going to try to tell them is right and proper or whatnot. You see what I'm saying? So we have to start really sitting back and thinking about what we're learning, what we're doing.
Yeah.
So that we can really at some point come out of the matriarch Shay, you said it best in her post about a week ago. She said, we got it twisted. We think we supposed to fight the system. No, you come out of it and starve it to death.
Starve the beast.
And we can't starve the beast because guess what? We eating what the beast eating too. And it tastes so good and it feels so good.
Like the beast and walk like the beast.
And then we're going to get that vernacular.
Like the beast. But my name's never going to be Becky though.
So yeah.
See, I can't even do it right, but y'all know what we're talking about. Shit, fuck Becky.
So yeah. So these are the things. These are the patterns. This is why I created Pattern Master, and this is the reason why all of you are part of the Pattern Masters page. Yasini, Crumb,
Facebook page,
Ponder,
Pattern Masters.
Pattern Masters is my Facebook page. Matriarch Joy. You see what I'm saying? And there's so many others. I mean, if you go on my page, I can't even name all the master. Kalinago. Oh, definitely. He is one of my best mentors. I love Kalinago for what he brings, the power to our people. Look, don't take that man for granted. I mean, excuse me, don't take that night for granted. Yes. Because that night been on it. You understand? So when I mention all of these beings, I mention them to reinforce that I am not here for a celebrity. I mention all these other beings because they all have a piece of the pattern that will heal our people, that opens our eyes, that elevates us above manhood and womanhood to knighthood and wisdom where we should be.
Yeah. And speaking of celebrity, do not come to any Karmic Dynasty Joy Allen event. And Joy Allen is do not give autographs. Joy Allen is not a celebrity. I will take a picture with you, but at the same time, I'm hurrying up to sit down and speak with you. I'm interested in what you have to say. I'm interested in your expression of yourself through your voice, through your dance, through your form of art. I just need y'all to know that. I appreciate you all. Also, I am wanting to speak to Salima because I'm going to have her share with me her feedback on changing our given names. The names, in my case, the name my mother gave me, Tisha. And she spoke to me about not changing that. So she's going to talk to us about that. And I know she mentioned in brief that people change it to be recognized by the system. And then I spoke about how I wasn't changing it to be recognized by the system or to go through a whole secure party creditor event and about the money. I'm working on changing my name based on, I know that my mother, like us all, had been systemized, and I was working on removing myself from the system part of my mother's decisions. Just like it was the system, my mother being systemized, that how I got a birth certificate and social security card. Nothing she did on purpose. She didn't deliberately do it to harm me. She did it because that's what she thought is what it was to do. So if you could share with them about my given name and your mother's love and frequency Let's see that right there.
Okay, so a lot of the push to come out of the system has been said that you have a slave name, which is a slap in the face to your mother, basically. When your mother had you, she named you on the frequency of love and understanding of your relationship to one another, okay? So I will never change my name, though I have given myself another name because I have that right as a being to define myself at some point. But I will never change the frequency upon which I was brought into this realm. So when my mother named me Salima, that name was with love. And I will never change that name for any reason, though I have given myself another name. And it's not a name on paper. It is the name of my community, my frequency, okay? So don't be quick to change your name just because people tell you to. That name is a frequency built based on love and abundance, all the joy and love your mother wisdom had for you when she had you. So don't be quick to change that name just because that outside government entity chose to use it, mimic it, and turn it into a money-making machine for themselves. That does not change who you are integrally. That does not change your frequency. And when you take away that loving a title that was given to you by your mother, you change that frequency. And you should not change that frequency of love. You came through a portal, and then she named you after you came through her portal. That is the greatest love you can receive. One of the greatest moments of love that you can receive. You understand? So you stop changing your frequency to shoot these other people. I don't care if it's for fiat reasons, whatever. You're changing your frequency. Now, if you do it to save your life or something, that's different. That's on you. I don't know what everybody's going through. But I know in my journey of awareness and understanding who I am, I'm not going to change my frequency, not even to circumvent this government. This frequency has gotten me to where I am and who I am today. Why would I change it? With all the pain and misinformation and missteps I've made in my life, it was based on a frequency of love. Salima Kenyatta, that's who I am. I'm not going to change my frequency because I have not only survived, now I have begun to thrive on that frequency. So be careful about changing your names. Though I do have a name that, like I said, I created for myself, I will never put it on paper. And the reason why you don't put this name on paper is because that is their way of controlling you. You see, that is their way of classifying you. Some things don't need to be put on paper.
Which leads to stress.
Yep. And that's why I say I am the book.
And migraines.
I am the book. So when people want to know, where are you getting this information from me, I am the book. That's where I'm getting it from me. I am the book. I am wisdom. I'm the Sybil.
So,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
You done? You paused. Are you done? Stay over there. All right. So, in all, what some would call fairness, some of us were named. I was named by my mother. Some of us were named by our fathers, aunt, uncle. Okay, we got you. Y'all know what she's saying though. Don't even try to come over here like that. I ain't looking at the comments, but just don't. I got y'all. We got you. Calm down. So, in sharing this is what drove me to change my name. I was studying the origin of the months of the year. So, September, August, Augustus Caesar, Julius Caesar for July, and going into the etymon of Og, the AUG in August, I came across, it's spelled, I don't know how to say it. I never looked at that. It's spelled COGNOMEN. And it means causes to grow and some other things. But later on down in the reading of the etymon, I see it means nickname, which is Roman. And then it goes on to say it's the last of the three names, which we would know as a last name, by which a Roman citizen was known. For example, Caius Julius Cicero, Marcus Julius Cicero. The Cicero is what that's the model we're on. First name, middle name, last name.
Right.
I was like, oh hell no. I don't want the part of the Rome winning Rome do as the Romans do. I pass. I'm getting rid of at least one of these names.
Right.
I'm good with two names. And for most of us, most times the women that switch up in the, I'm gonna call it cognomen, is the last name, and that switch up occurs when we take on our husband's name, which is a furtherance of the patriarchal setup. So yes, I was quick to want to come out of that, and that's my story on my decision on changing my name.
I love that.
For those that needed to know, want to know, curious to know.
I was curious. I
had to pull out my notes.
So yeah, and you have a right to name, like I said, you have a right to name yourself, but definitely putting the name on paper that you give yourself at this point is dangerous, because paper leads into what? Capital and industry and money making, and keeping track of you. So yes, you have a right to name yourself, definitely, but don't always forego the name that your loved ones have given you, because that was given to you on the greatest frequency of love. We always talk about semantics and how, but that's one thing that's based on semantics, and the fact that our elders just didn't know that. They didn't have that knowledge. Mm-hmm. But what they did know was that when they held you after they pushed you out, it was that based on the love that they felt for you and the love of that family, you were named accordingly to that. Mm-hmm. So they had no idea of the Roman law, but you were still held and named. That means you were endowed,
branded.
Mm-hmm. So we have to be careful, even when we learn these things, not to be quick to jump to make moves, because we still need to learn more. And that's something I talked to you about before. Remember, we were saying we learned something, we quick to put it out. Mm-hmm. We quick to put it out on Facebook, but that still ain't what we think it is. Mm-hmm. Because see, I still have a problem with this term Indian, Aborigine and stuff. I don't think it's Aborigine or Aboriginal. I think it's Aborigine. You're not an Aboriginal, because ab means abstract, to take away from.
Take away from.
You're Aborigine. You're Aborigine. See, that's the thing. We have to stop. So even me as a master student, I can't be quick to put out just because I've learned something. I'm excited and I want to share it. Nah, I might need a little more time, which is why Joy be giving me the look like, it take you 3 years to write this. It took you. Yes. Because of the need for accuracy. Mm-hmm. My need for accuracy leads me 2 years to write a book that's 30 pages long. Mm-hmm. Not a 240-page book. My need for accuracy leaves me for 2 years to write a book that's just 50 pages long. Why? Because I have to delve into the language so that I don't want to be a leader. Why? Because you have to be able to lead the people somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I'm more than willing to be held accountable for my actions. I'm more than willing to be held accountable for my actions, because I'm going to hold myself accountable by what I put out. This is why I don't have 1 million videos out. Mm-hmm. because I'm studying, and I cannot put out anything until I've done my due diligence to put this knowledge out. And I need matriarchs like Charbet and Shayu and Joy Allen and just everybody. Quantiera, Marcia, Cherie Elbe. Yeah, I need you. I need these matriarchs. I need these patriarchs, like Crumb and Ponder and my chief Kalinago. You see what I'm saying? I need that because that's how I gain accuracy. Because I'm never going to have the whole puzzle. When I have the whole puzzle, you won't see me no more. Mm-hmm. Because how dare I stay here?
Right.
Out the puzzle completed means this realm for me has been completed. It's time to move on.
Game over.
Right. And that's another thing. I'm not playing games. Mm-mm. That's what the beast wants you to believe. Life is a game, and if you win, you're the best at the game. Life is not a game. It's not a toy to be tossed aside when the battery runs out. So we're making toys with no batteries up in here. We're going to keep it moving.
Solar power.
Hey! So yeah, this is the purpose of today's bill, is that this is contracting with the dark. So we just came from the dark, and we're revealing all the things that the dark has revealed to us, to you in the light.
Yeah.
I think that's it for me. I mean, I got so much more, but I'm done.
So we on the broadcast, but it's just audio, so you can sit and join us, be with us. And in the lyrics Zoom by the Commodores.
I like to fly away.
Yeah, speaking of the games, they said, and I played so many games. First they said, well, I've shared so many pains, and I played so many games. And further down, he says, Zoom, I like to fly far away from here.
But before he says that, he says, everybody finds the right way, somehow, some way.
Someday.
That's that matriarch, y'all. See that matriarch working? I mean, that's that patriarch. So yeah, we need our patriarchs.
Yes.
So it's in there. It's in there. It's the signs and symbols all around us. Mm-hmm. So we've been in darkness since Sunday, and it's just been this is the light today for us. Yeah. I've been in darkness since Sunday, when Ramutep did that to me.
Yeah, I've been in darkness this phase since Elmore gave me my astrological reading.
Wow.
While I was still in Indianapolis. And my light I've been in it for a minute. I've been in and out of darkness. I've been in and out the dark and the light. It's like every day something else.
Right.
I've been in. I'm a traveler. I roll in between the two. Real good. Real good. Speaking, let's go and talk about delving into the language.
Yes.
And you touched on and you zoomed right by it. Salima's a Commodore. She zoomed right by it. So you spoke about Aboriginal.
Yes.
Aborigine. Can we want to do a live little breakdown, delving into Aborigine?
Let's see if they even have it broke down like that. Because these people like to lie to us. Yeah. So I have my dictionary, which is my handy dandy notebook.
That's right. Get a clue. And we also can probably look at the etymon. As well.
Online etymology dictionary.
We use the online etymology dictionary for anyone interested in a reference.
Online etymology dictionary.
And we're using Webster's New Collegiate Dictionary.
1973.
1973.
It has to be a date so that people will know that the newer dictionaries is always crap. Now, what was the word that we want to?
Aborigine.
No results were found for Aborigine.
Okay. Let's roll it down. BOR.
Yep.
To bore through, perforate, auger. What's this soundtrack you got us what we listening to?
Terry Collier, Average Joe.
Average Joe.
It's an awakening song.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wake up song.
BHORH. Proto-Indo-European. European. Yeah.
Okay. So all I see is bore.
BORE.
BORE. There is no BRI. It's BRIC. Boric.
Right. And we know vowels are interchangeable.
Right. So let's go to bore. Number 1 is pierce with the rotary tube form to make a hole. Sink. A mine shaft or well to make one's way laboriously. To move ahead steadily.
Mm-hmm.
Bear, passive bear. Wave, a tidal flood with high abrupt front. Unknown, origin unknown, causes one that causes boredom. A tiresome person. Something that is devoid of interest. So that's definitely not us. We know they're devoid of interest because we hardly go see them the way they turn out to come see us when it's time for us to perform. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, shoot, yeah.
Like when it comes to jazz.
Yeah.
Or any of our performers, they come out in droves to see us.
Yeah.
We don't come out like that in droves to see them. They better be a spectacular type of person for black people to go see them.
And I can't think of one spectacular person that we went out in droves to go see.
I'm really thinking, oh my goodness. Okay, well let's.
Anyone in the comments think of, anyone in the audience think of,
because we're looking up Aborigine and we're saying we're not Aborigines. And then I said we're actually Aborigines.
So then that would be the opposite
of them.
Yeah.
So they're boring. So what are we?
Not boring.
Right. Full of wisdom and full of power and action. We put on great shows. So this is the build. Y'all please chime in, build with us. Love y'all. Ask the questions. Ask us a question. We're going to ask y'all questions. We want to build. We want to keep going. We want to go higher. We don't want to hit plateaus.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah,
we don't. I cannot think of any white Caucasoid, Tamahu, whatever.
Well, I know I like their music.
But we don't go out in droves to their concerts.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
For their appearances, I can't think of one.
I went to go see Alexander Zanjic. He's
and who's that?
Clarinet player. He's a jazz artist here in Detroit from Michigan.
Oh, he's from Detroit.
So he's from here. Well, I'm not sure it's from Detroit, but he's local Michigan definitely. Okay. And I went to go see him because I enjoy his music. He had something that I could deal with on that level, that vibration. I can't think of any. Like, I've been to see Lolita Adams. I've been to concerts. I've been to see Najee. I went to go see Angie Stone. I mean, I go see my people.
Yeah. But them, though.
The only one I can remember wanting to see ever is Michael Franks and Alexander Zonjic.
I don't never want to see none of them.
I understand that, but you know.
I'm thinking, yeah. I'm thinking, yeah, I've never been to none of their concerts.
But when it comes to our players on the field that look like us, that stadium filled with white people or Caucasians.
I was all up in that Mary J. Blige concert.
Concerts, whether we putting on a jazz concert or whether we putting on a rock and roll or hip hop, they come out in droves. When you go to rap concerts, it's more white people in the audience than black people. That should tell you something. So yeah,
something else to mimic.
This is us breaking down that language. This is us learning how to break down the language we created that they changed. That they changed on us.
So we've been on here for an hour and a half and a little change. We good? All right. As Quantiera says, we're lively. Period. And even though she's not here at this table with us, she's here with us as well as the rest of you, and I appreciate you. And again, you got something?
Quantier just slapped me with it. She said we're lively. So if the men are the night and the women are wisdom, why does the white cloud cover up the night? Is it them? What is that? Because I heard what's your teacher's name? The calendar.
Patar Seeker Asar.
Patar Seeker Asar. My other mentor.
Seba
said that the sky rises. Remember? So in the Bible, God talks about putting anonymity between
man and woman,
Eve and the serpent. The serpent, because it said the serpent was fucking with Eve.
Oh, my bad. Me and the Bible have been long disassociated. Say that one more time for the people who was listening.
Okay, so I'm about to break this down.
Because I interrupted it.
Okay, so in the Bible, there's a part in Genesis where the God put anonymity between Eve and the serpent. Now, obviously, we're described as the serpent, okay? And Eve is that fair, white being who looks and acts just like her man. So, in order to put anonymity between Eve and the serpent, that means some form of separation had to happen. Would the separation be the night and the day? That we are the night and they are the day? That they should only be functioning in the day and we should be functioning at night? Is that the anonymity?
Who is?
Between
us and our men?
Between the Eve seed and our seed and our people.
And it's done through illustrations of so-called white?
Well, it's done through the illustration
the white cloud.
Of a white cloud.
And like
white so the sugar. White cloud blocks my view of my night sky.
And the white sugar blocks
everything else. It kills you on the inside. When you think about it, when you menstruate and you've been having a lot of sugar, it's a heavy killer mode type of menstrual, ain't it? But you've been eating good in the neighborhood. But your body purge and feel like you're about to die.
Eating good in the neighborhood. So like white chickens instead of brown chickens.
Yeah.
And shits and shits.
White eggs instead of brown eggs.
Yes.
White sugar instead of sugar cane. Sugar from the cane. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So is that the anonymity put between the Eve seed and us? Like we shouldn't even be functioning. When we're up during the day, we're on their frequency. We shouldn't be. Because we just discovered that our nights function at night with us. Because if we're working in the dark, who should be in the dark protecting us?
The night.
The night. So why are we up during the freaking daylight hours getting fucked up on their frequency?
Yeah, and I say according to the teachings of Siva Patah Secret Star, that's exactly what it is. Because in the any of the slideshows y'all were a part of, the presentations in the slideshow, there was the being in the bold form.
Yep.
Over the woman form underneath. So the man is resembled as the night, and the woman the day, laying what would appear to be is laying on the ground. And I know Salima and I were also speaking of talking about us up through the night and day. We're talking about siestas and how I mentioned to her anytime a siesta is in images, anytime the siesta is in images, for me, I've seen the man under the tree resting. And Salima was talking about more of the hours of the day we rest and we up because Sheree El Messiah Cole, we were talking in discussion. Peace. And she was talking about we absorb the sun during the day. Um and she's actually here now. She just came in the room at the table. We're on a Karmic Dynasty Live audio only, and we just here speaking like we do when we're at the matriarchs are at the table. Peace, greetings to the kings in the room. But yeah, we're talking about siestas. I'm talking about the women absorbing the sun throughout the day, and how the men are actually out more. So they're the protectors, and or they are the hunters. So they're and we get more rest than them in the daytime, rest or recharging from the sun. So no, they don't come lay with us, was my point. They go separate from us not to disturb us when we're recharging from the sun. And then they continue on with their day of protection and hunting and XYZ until after we've absorbed our share of sun and recharged in the day so we can continue our business at night, as we also discussed on or after the They Live presentation. We talked about the 3 a.m. when we're up at 3 a.m. creating and designing. Because Ramutef was talking about people like in business, the creators of business, and how they're up at 3 a.m. And someone else mentioned how farmers are up at 4 a.m. Mm-hmm, so we had got into that system of the cycle of the day. Long story short, that's where I was going. Y'all got me. So the homeschoolers have come together in here, the matriarchs. We have some presentations and lectures to present and get into. So we were on our way to shutting this down, and the Quantiera had Salima had some value to add to Quantiera's comments, so that got us there. You have anything else you want to share before we leave today?
I will be talking forever. It just keeps growing.
We come back.
Yeah, we could come back.
We come back. Sheree Matriarch, you have something to share with us before we leave?
Oh, I came in actually on the tail end, and I'm always coming in and you saying some good stuff.
It's all right.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, between 4 and 4:30 in the morning is usually when most farmers or that are connected to the earth do rise. We don't sleep. It's best to get rest as opposed to sleep, because our mind or the brain is never sleeping. We don't want it to sleep. We just want the body itself to get the rest that it needs. Mm-hmm. Don't eat after I usually say 8 to 9 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
but anywhere at least 3 hours prior to you laying down, so that your body's not working while you're laying down, so that you do get the proper rest necessary.
Right.
I do agree with what you were saying. Men get up and go out, and they're hunter gatherers, while we are the ones that take care of the home and the village, I should say, not just the home, because the home is more than just that one building.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It includes that building and that building and that building and whichever ones that we're, just like I'm over here in this building, and this is home as well.
Right.
So these all have to be maintained by us, as just like we're gathering now.
Mm-hmm.
Matriarchal forces coming together with the children,
Mm-hmm.
like it has always been, where the women and children are learning throughout the day while the men are out hunting and gathering.
Mm-hmm.
Proof and point right here.
Yes.
No, what more can be said about that?
All right. Well, the matriarchs have spoken, and at some points we spoke on behalf of the patriarchs, and we have referenced them all as divine. I am Joy Allen of Karmic Dynasty, and again, in case you missed the memo, I am in a shadow work phase, as some would say.
We're in shadow work.
We are, and contracting in the dark is what I'm on. I have hinted you all to this to prepare you for a time such as this. So when you see this dark logo, this is the first one that's actually happened. So this is my first sharing of this level and these phases that I'm going through and growing, continuous growth. And I appreciate you all for being here. And my blue logo and screen sharing and all that will be here in a few days. And peace to all of you. Respect to all of you. Protection and guidance to all of you as well. And continue your so-called shadow work. Continue to contract in the dark. And we will be with you all again very soon. Peace.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. Gratitude.